Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first edition of Inside Artesian Football here on WREP 15 Sports for the 2011 football season. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined by Artesian head coach and assistant athletic director, Fred Kutruff. Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking time to join us.
Thanks for having me.
It's going to be a fun season coming up. Martinsville, a lot to talk about with the new turf football field, in addition to some spectacular games hopefully on the horizon for the Artesians, and it's going to start with the opener against Terre Haute South coming up on Friday night at the brand new Siderewicz Football Field. So we're going to take a break. We'll come back with the coach. We'll talk about the new turf. We'll talk about the kids coming back and what we can expect out of the 2011 football Artesians when we return inside Artesian Football.
Discover Artesian Outdoors, the Bass Pro Shop on State Road 37 next to 84 Lumber. Inside you'll find a shop crammed full with all your hunting and fishing needs. Artesian Outdoors, the Bass Pro Shop, carries a full line of archery and hunting supplies of all types. And they have a giant selection of tackle, live bait, and fishing gear. And catalog ordering is also available every Monday. For all your hunting and fishing needs, stop by Artesian Outdoors, the Bass Pro Shop on State Road 37 next to 84 Lumber behind O'Neill Mulch.
Shop at Keller's Office Supply at 159 North Main Street in Martinsville for all your school and office supply needs. When you come to Keller's, you'll find superstore prices with hometown service. Keller's Office Supply offers same-day delivery for all your office and janitorial needs. And if they don't have your supplies in stock, why drive when you can call Keller's? They have over 35,000 unique and hard-to-find items that are available to deliver them to your door the very next day. Looking for new office furniture? John Lake and Keller's can design custom-made furniture to fit your space.
Come to Keller's. We'll treat you like family.
Being a student athlete has definitely helped me in the classroom because it's helped me balance my time. Teachers expect the best of you, and so do coaches, and you also always want to be there for your teammates whenever they need you. Between school and sports and just being there for your friends, you need to stay highly motivated, stay on top of your game, and that way you can just be a better person overall. High school sports, a healthy part of a complete education.
Welcome back to Inside Artesian Football with head coach Fred Kutruff. And coach, let's first talk about the big change here to Martinsville High School and for the community, if you will. The addition of the turf football field looks fantastic. You got it in when they were supposed to get it a little bit late, but it looks beautiful out there. You guys have already had a scrimmage on it. The junior league's already played on it. Band's practicing on it. It's getting a lot of use, just like you guys anticipated when it was put in.
Well, that's the whole idea. We're a corporation that's landlocked, and there's not a whole lot of places to go. And you know, I think we've originally calculated maybe it gets 600 hours more. I think now it was about 60 hours a week total for the whole, or 60 hours for the whole year. And I bet we're going to well exceed 600 hours. So we're keeping track of that, but it's just used every single day. Great facility. You know, we were finishing up. Band was coming out the other night. It's just good for our town, and good to see people enjoying it.
And they will have that opportunity. They came out on community night to come out and do it. You guys have been out there practicing, got out on it a few weeks ago. How are the kids being able to adjust to the new turf field?
You know, the first time, the footing, they're a little bit, it was a little different than grass. But I think but you get a few rug burns. It's something you got to put up with, but it is a great surface, and I think we're getting our footing a little bit better. And you know, it's just something. It's nice to, when you're practicing, it's just like you're practicing basketball. You got to have lines, but you know, we have also field markers, whether it's the numbers, the hash marks, that we have to use as landmarks when we're running, whether routes or drops, and they're always there. So when you're practicing, kids are actually, you know, our practice field was always actually, I believe 6 yards short on each side, so it wasn't quite what a game situation was. But and what's neat about it, you know, we're practicing. Our freshmen are practicing out there. East Middle School now has moved down in practice, and it looks like, I haven't seen them there yet, but we ought to be able to bring the 7th grade down in practice when our freshmen aren't out on the practice field. But so it's from practicing, it's just great for a coach, very efficient. You walk out and you just go at it.
Let's talk a little bit more about those practices and how they've gone, not just in accordance to how the turf is portrayed, but how has your ball club been practicing here in preparation for that first game coming up on Friday night?
I think we've had some really good practices. We've got, we know our weaknesses, we know our strong points. It's real easy to tape out there. We watch, our kids watch a lot of videotape. We practice, we tape it, they watch what they did, and I can tell we're executing, you know, pretty well against ourselves. Now it could change on Friday night, But so the practice has been good. Now it is hotter out there. I mean, if it's going to usually be 10, 15 degrees hotter. So luckily we've had some cloud break or some cloud cover here the last couple days. But yeah, it gets pretty steamy. I think junior football had a rough day.
Right.
I think the kids were okay because they're only out there for an hour. The refs and the coaches were the ones probably hurting.
Yeah, they were. I can attest to that. Though it was nice for the kids to get out there and play. And I remember one of the kids on our team walked out onto the field and was like, "This is awesome," and that was good. Good that he could see it for everything bad for us, because I think he was a little bit intimidated by it. But it was just neat, the reaction for them to be able to run out there and play. But moving on ahead to the big boys now, in your team coming in, let's look at it offensively this year. And when you start talking about your team, you lost some kids from last year, have some back, but when you start talking about Martinsville offensively, you got to start with the quarterback and Hayden Northern.
We've got a 4-year starter returning. He took over about, I think, the 3rd, 4th game of the year when he was a freshman, and he's had his, he's had his ups and downs. Mostly in the last couple of years, they've been all ups. And, we're excited to have him leading us. He's going to do an outstanding job.
He is going to lead the ball club, but obviously can't do it alone, especially in football, team sport. He's going to count on the rest of his teammates, his offensive line, his wing backs, running backs, and receivers. Can you talk a little bit about some of the other personnel that we'll see surrounding Hayden on Friday night?
Well, I think we start with our offensive line. We lost 4 out of 5 starters. Matt Haggard is returning at our right guard. David LaPasa is going to be starting at right tackle for us. He's been doing a great job. Our other left tackle is going to be a youngster, Sam Kleesner, who been real proud of what he's probably, was our best lineman there a little bit. But we've got some guys now I think have really stepped up and caught up with him. And our center is going to be John Rapolo. He is doing a really good job. He's got some good size, probably the strongest guy in school. So that helps. We just got to work on the snaps. And then our other guard will be Matt Count, another senior. So they had some big shoes to fill from last year, but I like their progress and where Coach Byers is bringing them. And we also have a new guy to our staff, Fred Roman. He's got a lot of experience at offensive line. So I like where they're headed.
That's the offensive line. It's going to be slated to try to keep Hayden clean, if you will, so he can find some of those wing backs, receivers, and running backs. Can you talk a little bit about the other specialty players that are going to be on your ball club this year?
Well, Hunter Smith is a 2-year starter. Started a little bit as a sophomore for us, but he's a nice big fullback. Runs well, runs hard, has had great attitude. Then we got 2 wing backs, Kane Liscombe and William O'Neill Williams, coming back from knee surgery, doing really well, looking like old William. Kane is, people will notice him. He's the fastest kid on the field. And he's gonna do some big things. Both of them, I think, will. But all 3 of them we got a nice combination of skilled guys. And then our wideouts will be James Callan, what we call our X, and our Z is going to be Brandon Applegate. And Brandon started for us last year. James is a newcomer. We kind of moved him over from defense. He's not as big as his brother was from last year, but got a good set of hands and very fast. And we got a set of guys that can really make some big plays at any given time.
That's a look offensively. Let's talk a little bit about what we can see offensively out of teams. That's the personnel. What are we going to see out of your ball club? We've seen in the past. It comes up with the spread look a lot at times. Last year you ran a tight end. What can we expect out of your ball club, passing, running, and formation-wise, without giving away too much here, that we'll see this year?
Well, I think you'll see some different formations. You're going to see our spread. You're going to see a lot of motion. We like to run a lot of jet. You're going to see a tight end. So we don't do a whole lot, but we'll give you different formations. And hopefully maybe cause a little confusion or some matchup problems. We're going to run the football. I mean, I know people say I like to throw it. I do like to throw it. I'm going to be a big part of the offense, but Anthony Lindsay's going to be the offensive coordinator. Him and Fred Roman are going to work on that together. So, we got a meeting here right after this and finalize the game plan. And they both have great backgrounds. So, I know Coach Roman likes to run it and Coach Lindsay likes to pass it. So, we'll get it worked out, but I think it'll be an exciting. We don't have that great athlete, but we got some good athletes, and we got to be efficient, and we can't turn the ball over or make mistakes.
Looking at it offensively, let's flip it over to the other side of the ball. We said that Hayden is the guy that you look to start on the offense. When you start talking about your defense, you're going to talk about Bo Shields. He's the guy that brings a lot of energy and has for several years now for the Artesians. Verbally committed to Indiana State, and Bo's where you build it around on the defensive end.
He's just a one-man wrecking crew, and I think sometimes we kind of think Bo's always going to make the play, and our guys kind of sometimes let up just the fact that, well, Bo will get there. So I hope our young guys that are coming in the program, especially whether you're junior football, middle school, and either guys who are playing, that's how you play football. He plays with passion, plays with heart, and he leaves it all out there. You know, you see him jumping around. That's not a show. That's just the way Bo plays. He has fun playing football. And we got another good backer going with him, Brian Hill. Is going to be we got, I think, 2 pretty good set of linebackers. Our outside backers, our free safety type guys, are Ben Elliott, and then we got a new guy in, Dallas Nunn, who we call him Spur and Bandit, but they're more like outside backer types, doing a great job. And then William O'Neill will be our free safety. Brandon Applegate is running a corner right now, but he's getting a lot of, we'd like to get him going one way and maybe get another guy in there. We got Dallas Fuller, sophomore, looking really good. And then our other side is Spencer Clefane, who also is a wingback for us and very explosive, can do some things for us. And then our defensive line is Jeremy Millis, who's a 2-year starter, is in there doing a good job for us and a solid senior. We got Zach Woods, who's defensive end, who's been doing really well. We got kind of a newcomer. He's a senior, and is Joe Moriarty. And Joe's the guy that makes great grades. Didn't know how good of a football player he's going to do, but he's never missed anything. He comes to practice and has really made himself a great little football player. And so he's been a big surprise for us. And we also have Jared Pond, another senior, that has stepped in there and holding down. He's getting a lot of competition from Garrick John. So we got some, I feel pretty good. We just, our weak point probably, got to make sure our DBs don't get beat deep. Sometimes I think it's not that they physically can't do it. We kind of get wrapped up into other things and got to remember their job.
What are we going to try to do on the defensive side of the football coming in? What can the fans expect and some of the things that they'll see front-wise? You went over pretty much where everybody's going to play and things along those times, but what are we going to see out of the defense, attacking-wise and those kind of things? Well,
we've kind of changed from our stack to more of a 4 type of defense, 4-2, 4-4. The young guys called a 4-2, old guys called a 4-4. But you'll see a stunning, trying to play solid defense, kind of, maybe cause a little confusion. And you'll see us flying the football, and I think it's going to be fun to watch. That's a look at the offense and the defense, the third component of any football team, and sometimes it turns out to be the most important is the special teams at times. Can you talk a little bit about what we can expect on the kicking, kickoff, kick returns, and punts? Yeah, we got Brandon Applegate is doing a good job as our punter. We've got a couple different punts, and Mason Kutruff can come in there, and also the type of punt we do, we like to use him. We call it Puma punt, where we can throw it or punt it. We really just need someone to zap it down about 30 yards and so we can cover it. So, those 2 guys are doing a really good job. Ross Beck is going to be our kicker. He'll kick off, and Ross has worked hard this summer, and so we're hoping he has a big year. He's done the things we've asked. So, feel pretty good there, and we'll just have to see how things go. That's a look at the Artesian football team coming up, the 2011 version. You'll be able to see it on the brand new turf football field coming up Friday night at home against the Terre Haute South Braves. Before we come back, though, we're going to take a break. Get back here. We'll talk a little bit about the scrimmage against Terre Haute North, and we'll wrap things up when we come back, finally taking a look at the game against the Terre Haute South Braves. We'll be back, though, when Inside Artesian Football continues.